Hey everyone. Thanks for coming. Just before we start, I've just had a look through a few of the questions in advance, and I'm just going to post a comment with some links that are relevant to some of the questions asked. So now I'm just going to start going down the questions from the top. Question number one, do you utilize AI to help identifying potentially interesting research topics? So what I found here is that AI is not great at telling you just from a blank slate what topic you should look at. But if you've got some ideas or leads, you can use AI to kind of expand on those ideas and explore them quite fast. To me, like every time I research a given topic, I end up with 5 more kind of leads for other things that I want to research. And when I'm evaluating those to work out which one to pick, I'm looking for leads where I can validate them very fast. Basically, for me, the worst possible outcome is I invest like 3 months in a topic and I find absolutely nothing. So I want topics where I can kind of understand what I'm doing and try some stuff out within a week or two, and then based on those results make a decision as to whether I should keep investing more time in this topic or move on to somewhere else. So where I found AI really helps there is that it can help you get to grips with the state of the art on a given topic really, really fast, which is super useful. So especially I found OpenAI's deep research is really nice for this. If you give it a query, or if you give it a broad query, it will just come back with loads of rubbish. But if you're specific enough about how you're interested in things that are overlooked and interested in and you tell it to do things like look at RFCs and academic papers and source code and Stack Overflow, it can basically get you up to the state of the art on a topic really, really fast, which is super useful. In some cases, so this has happened to me once so far, with the right prompt, and AI will actually give you a novel hacking technique which is not published anywhere. This happened with me with GPT-4 about 6 months ago, and I was able. It was kind of an accident, but I was able to replicate it with deep research recently, and I'll be sharing that specific technique at Black Hat this summer. Hopefully, it's just a fairly small thing, but I think the intuition for understanding that kind of finding is that there's this experience that we've probably all had where you find something weird and you're Googling and then you land on like a Stack Overflow post somewhere, and it's like the third answer down on a Stack Overflow post is some developer posting something, and you read it and you're like, that's a vulnerability. But the developer wasn't thinking about it with an offensive mindset. And I think there's loads of absolute gems of information out there in like random Stack Overflow posts like that. And AI, if you're lucky or you ask the right query, can surface that for you and can lead to some super cool discoveries. That said, in general, I found, so for example, I recently did a bit of research on encoding based attacks, and there's like 10 classes of these, and there's these like 30,000 word documents, but with AI, with a day or so, I was able to get a good grip on the core concepts and actually apply those techniques successfully in the wild. So that's the main thing that I found, like ChatGPT kind of web interface based AI is useful for in the context of research. Hopefully that answers that question. Next question is, what's the best way to use AI in bug bounty and how can people implement this? So I think one really easy thing you can do is watch out for AI tools and try them out. New tools are being released all the time. Developing them is so easy and fast. So look out for those, try them out and see if they're any good or not. And once again, you can use AI to learn about attack concepts really fast. And you're in the bug bounty context, it's also often you'll find the best bugs by really understanding your target and their business well. So, for example, I tested this out with Uber. I said, I've lost the exact text, but I basically said, I'm a bug bounty hunter. I'm going to target Uber. How can I make the most money as fast as possible targeting them? Like, what websites should I be targeting? What techniques have worked on them historically? What do they tend to have large payouts for? And it was pretty effective. It gives you lots of waffle and then occasional really valuable pieces of information. In fact, amusingly, it even said that you might be able to blackmail them for $100,000 payout, which is accurate, but is not something that I would recommend. But you can see, like, it will get you detailed information on that target, and that might give you an edge. Really, you should have always been doing that stuff manually, right? But that takes ages. That's time consuming. It just lets you do stuff you're going to do anyway, but faster. Okay. Next question is, can I recommend specific LLMs for jailbreaks to deal with things like AI saying, sorry, I can't comply with that? Well, this is an issue that I actually haven't had too much because Burp AI uses Portswigger's AI setup, which is currently exclusively using OpenAI, and we have a deal with them, which means our AI has reduced security-related safeguards. So what that means is that basically anytime it doesn't want to do something, you just tell it, I'm doing this to publish it at a conference, and it's like, great, here's all the info you needed to know. So that's one of the benefits of using our system there, which is pretty cool. But that also means that I don't have any advice on jailbreaks in general because I've never needed them so far. The next question is about Shadow Repeater saying, has this helped me find a creative solution to a problem during research? So just in case you haven't seen Shadow Repeater, this is an AI tool that Gareth on our research team made, and it looks at what you're doing in Repeater and it tries variations of your payloads and it tells you if any of them work. And it just does this behind the scenes with no interaction required. So I've seen it find cool issues, but with the specific topic that I'm researching right now, that concept doesn't really work for it. But I have built a different tool that I haven't released yet that uses a similar kind of concept, and that tool has led to some very nice findings, and I'll be sharing that tool hopefully at Black Hat. Next up, where do I start if I want to leverage AI in security beyond prompting? So I think the step after that is tools. In Burp Suite, you can really easily make extensions that invoke AI. Also, in the early adopter release that we sent out the other day, there's a super cool new feature called custom actions, and that lets you kind of build like micro extensions really, really easily for use in Repeater. And we're going to add AI capabilities to that tool very soon. So what that does is it makes it really, really easy to try building your own AI tools as well as using other people's. And yeah, the step beyond a basic AI thing is using agents and stuff like MCP, which we've also just shipped an extension for. Next up, what's the best usages for AI? I've kind of covered, and then it's like, what does AI need to get better at? So the biggest problems that I've seen with use of AI for pen testing is that it tends to gradually go off the rails if there's no human intervention to correct it. That's why I'm super excited to be working at Portsmouth, where we've got Burp Suite and we've got lots of expert humans available to us. So right now, I'm not, I'm not concerned about the concept of fully automated AI-based pen testers because they're just not there yet. And the AI features, they'll work like 90% of the time just doing one thing, and then you make them a bit more complex, and now it's 90% squared, and it's even less reliable. And that means even compliance type work, they're not really suitable for it because they'll just gradually fail at it. Whereas by slotting them into a human user's workflow, like we're doing in Burp Suite with Shadow, Repeater, and the like, we can basically let the human do their job better. The other issue with AI in research specifically is hallucination. It will definitely hallucinate things, and that it puts this whole concept of, I'll use AI to learn about this topic really fast. It makes it kind of challenging. Basically, you can't just learn the topic with AI. And similarly, if you want to do research, even using fancy deep research stuff, you will get nowhere unless you know the right questions to ask. So it's really dependent on human expertise to get quality results with it at the moment. There's a couple of questions about should I invest in a super PC for AI usage, or should I use a subscription? So we looked at this very early on. We considered building a big machine at Portsmouth for this, and we experimented with it. And basically, at the moment, the rate at which the cloud models are getting better basically dwarfs everything else. So unless that changes at some point, it doesn't make economic sense to build your own system for this. But also, if you do it anyway, you'll just get worse results. Like, for example, we actually built the original Shadow Repeater concept a year ago, and it didn't really work, so we didn't release it. And then 1 year later, we picked it up, and just because of improvements in third-party LLMs, it just worked out of the box with virtually no changes. And those are the kinds of benefits that are going to be much more painful to get if you're hosting your own model. Now, obviously, there's security and compliance reasons why you might be forced to do that, which is stuff we appreciate, and I linked a survey related to that topic. But in general, if you can, what we're seeing is that model as a service stuff is just better at getting the job done. Similarly, there's a question about redacting stuff that gets sent to AI models from your Burp Suite instance. Now, right now, we haven't got anything in there that does it, but you could ad hoc build it fairly easily. You just need to proxy Burp Suite through Burp Suite, and in the upstream Burp Suite, you'll see all the AI requests, and then you can make a proxy match replace rule or match replace Bambda to apply the redactions as you see fit. Obviously, that's kind of hacky, and hopefully fairly soon we can provide a better way of trying that out if you want to do so. Well, next question. Where do I think web security will be in 5 to 10 years. So I don't really like making predictions, but I can see trends. So for example, due to increased HTTP2 adoption, HTTP request smuggling, which is entirely reliant on exploiting HTTP1, should be trending downwards pretty heavily. And yeah, hopefully. At the moment, it's just CDNs that are holding that back, really. And on the flip side, with AI, I can see both AI hacking trending upwards. We've actually got an academy topic on LLM hacking, so check that out if you haven't already. And we also see APIs becoming more prominent, maybe MCP, maybe not, but that's the language that LLMs speaks. So I think API hacking is going to be more popular tool too, and I think we're definitely going to have AI tools affecting workflows for pen testers, for bounty hunters, for basically everybody. This is one of those things where it's really early days, right? Like now we're in that, like you can draw an equivalent with cloud computing, and be like, in the early days, everyone was like, I'm not going to use the cloud. That's someone else's computer. It's too dangerous. So loads of people held off, and then over time, policies were rewritten, and people were just like, you know what, the benefits are worth the risks. And I think that's the direction that we're going in. But, you know, it's just a prediction. We'll see what happens. I can definitely tell you I'm still going to be hacking websites in 10 years' time. That's the important thing. Next question. What's the most overlooked web vulnerability? For me, I think that has to be race conditions. There's some types of race conditions that I call limit overflow ones, which are well understood and easy to find and not overlooked. But then there's all the other race conditions, and these are super, super hard to find. No one's cracked it. They mostly get discovered by accident, or they just never get found. And even when they get discovered by accident, often that means you can't figure out how to replicate them, and they never get patched and written down as like solar bit flips, right? So yeah, race conditions are massively overlooked. But on the other hand, they're a difficult research topic. I've already done 1 year of research on race conditions, and I would say it didn't leave me tempted to do another year on the same topic, but you never know. If I was going to pick one web security research topic to focus on for the next year, well, I can't tell you what topic I would personally pick. I can give you some general guidance. Obviously, there's the blog post I linked above on how I pick topics. One other thing I've noticed recently is it depends on how long your research project is going to last. So, for example, if you're doing a kind of a short-term piece of research, maybe a few weeks, and then you'll publish a blog post as soon as it's done, then a really effective technique is to pick an area that has seen a lot of recently published research and just try to build on the published research and combine different pieces of published research. So for example, right now, a great choice there would be SAML. Lots of research has come out on exploiting SAML systems in the last month or so, including some from us. And there's definitely more potential there. But on the flip side, this is the approach that most people take when they're trying to pick research topics. And that means if what you want to do is spend 6 months researching and then submit to a conference CFP and then wait for 4 months and then publish your research almost a year after you started, SAML's not a good choice because there's too many other people looking at SAML. So what I do for long-term research is I try to pick a topic where research in the field has basically been dead for at least a couple of years. By dead, I don't mean like nothing's been published, but like nothing major, like maybe nothing at Black Hat or DEF CON or that went viral in general. Some topics, like most researchers, most pen testers ignore academic research most of the time. So you can get away with building on that without research collisions so much. But in general, yeah, basically the older the topic and the less it's been moving, the safer a topic it is to do research on for a big research project that's not going to get published for a year or so. Where are we? What was my path to web security? So it started out, well, I've got two versions of this story. But to give you the, if you ask me in person, there's some funny backstory to this, but long story short, I got into bug bounty hunting at university, did that for a couple of years, and I was just like self-taught in it, didn't have any mentors. I found a vulnerability. I thought I'd found a buffer overflow in Firefox, and I signed up to sell it to a security company that buys 0 days in web browsers. And I was wrong. It was actually just a crash. It was rubbish. But while I was registering on their website, I found the website was vulnerable to cross-site request forgery. So I could actually hack other researchers' accounts and steal their 0 days. So at this point, bug bounty barely existed, but I just submitted that vulnerability in the company's own website to the company that buys vulnerabilities, and they accepted it. That was the first payout I ever got, and that got me pretty hooked. And then I did bug bounty hunting, did a couple of years of pen testing, and got into research because pen testing gets a bit repetitive. I find I like doing things that are new. That keeps me interested, really. That's the short version. I've lost my thread now. Okay, there's a question about what steps can you take to improve your source code review skills. So all I would say to that is, personally, I do all my testing black box virtually all the time. So unfortunately, I can't really help with that, but I would love to get better at source code review, so maybe one day I'll be able to answer that question. If I'd had today's AI tools in the past, how would they have helped? I think in past times, I spent so much time reading RFCs, and I think basically with the current state of AI tools, the main difference would be I'd be spending less time doing that, because they can pick good information out of RFCs, and they can also read like Stack Overflow and developer forums and Reddit and find those gaps where what the web servers do isn't actually compliant with our RFCs, which is super useful information. What should you not waste time pursuing within LLM? I think at the moment, an LLM is basically not capable of doing actual research for you. It can read about things, which is great, but to do real research, you have to send payloads to real websites and see what happens. And they're not at a large scale, and they're not there yet. So I think just understanding you need to come in and do those steps and validate what it's saying. That's pretty important. Do I think AI will make websites so secure that bug bounty will be irrelevant in 5 years? Good question. No, I don't think so, because even if things get more secure as a kind of a baseline, people are using AI to develop code faster. They're shipping features faster. They're rushing things more, and they're putting in shiny AI features, which can then also be hacked as well. So you've got kind of forces pulling security in both directions there, which means that I'm not concerned about everything being too secure at least in the next 5 to 10 years. What does my daily schedule look like? I don't really have much of a schedule. It varies wildly. I basically spend most of my time trying out novel attack techniques, wrapping up for presentation, and then assisting the rest of the Portsmouth research team with the same, really. And then occasionally I help out with things like prioritizing Burp Suite features or like testing them out before we publish them, and that kind of stuff. Can I give a teaser of what I've been researching I will present at Black Hat and DEF CON? No. Sorry. But it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. I'm super happy with how it went. I can tell you at one phase of the research I made over $100,000 in bounties in the space of 2 weeks, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I'll leave you to guess the rest. Have I tested the use of crew AI for hallucination? No, I haven't heard of it. I think, hallucination is definitely a problem, given that what I think AI is best at right now is teaching humans. And we'll simulate manual testing use AI. We don't have any current plans to make the simulate manual testing feature use AI, but if you want to put in a feature request, I'm sure we could whip something up for you. How can you get into research from pen testing? So getting into a full-time research position is difficult because there aren't very many available. So I think it's quite competitive. But on the other hand, you've got this massive advantage that a lot of people don't really want to do full-time research. I would say so. I've done a fair amount of hiring of researchers. So what I can say is the main thing that makes a good researcher is the drive to research. Because if you don't have this drive, you're just going to burn out really fast and have a bad time doing research full time. So what I look for in researchers is basically have these people manage to do some research in their previous job. Because even as a pen tester, you will see research leads. And sometimes you will see research leads that you could explore in the fragments of time that you do have free. And sometimes, sometimes you end up researching in evenings and weekends. I've been there and done that. And fortunately, I don't have to do that anymore. But so what I'm looking for is evidence that people have the crazy high level of motivation for research that you need. And that should be evidenced by things like blog posts, maybe even conference presentations, that kind of stuff. I think, do the research and share the research. Those are the two key ways of kind of showing that you can do this. And one cool thing that you may find if you work somewhere reasonably nice, you'll be able to publish research on the company blog, and with a bit of luck, basically make a case to your company that this is good marketing for your company, and therefore they should let you have more dedicated time to actually do research. And that way you can basically shift your pen tester role into a pen tester / researcher and get more time to do that. Do I have to deal with lack of motivation? Motivation is a super challenging thing. To be honest, I've even considered doing an entire full-length presentation on motivation in research. But I think you need a lot of motivation, like inherently. But beyond that, one trick, like one thing I can, like one practical technique that I try and use is at any given time, like whenever I'm researching any topic, I know what topic I want to research afterwards, after that one. And so what that means is that it prevents me from getting too bogged down and too stuck on the topic that I'm on, because if I don't see progress for a few weeks, then I'm not going to be so tempted to double down and spend another 2 months on it, because I know there's this other topic that I'm interested in moving on to. I think what really kills your motivation is when you just end up kind of grinding on a single topic. This happened to me a bit when I was looking for race conditions, because normally I can automate scanning for everything, but I couldn't effectively automate that for the kind of race condition that I wanted to find. And I just spent maybe a month just manually testing website after website, looking for like one type of attack, and it was kind of soul destroying. And basically you've got to recognize when that happens and go, okay, I'm just going to stop doing that now and do something different and find something that aligns better with me. Because I think motivation is about working on something that makes you excited, that you are psyched for, and kind of nurturing that. That's enough on that topic. How do I approach a topic to research on? So I think after this wraps up, I'll just share a link on that. Oh, we've already gone 2 minutes over time, and I've got another 8 questions. Okay, I'm going to wrap things up after the last question I've got on my list here. Okay, so are there any events I'm attending soon? Yes, I'm going. Well, I'm hopefully going to be presenting some awesome research at Black Hat and DEF CON, and also I'm doing the CFP at RomHack. Is the RomHack keynote related to my Black Hat presentation? Yes, it will be closely related. Other way, have I collaborated with someone outside research on my research? Outside Portsmouth on my research? Yes, I actually did that this year. You'll find out more information at Black Hat. It was a very fun collaboration. Where can I find good read-ups, good write-ups for research? So there's a bunch of, basically RSS is good. Social media like X, Blue Sky, Mastodon, even LinkedIn is good, and Reddit. Our web security research is a subreddit I moderate, which has decent signal to noise ratio on web security content. And then there's our NetSec as well, which is also pretty good. What's the weirdest bug I found using AI? I'm going to tell you that one at Black Hat. Do I research multiple things at once? No, I prefer to focus on one topic at a time. And when I finish a topic, I try to publish it straight away, because I basically know if I don't publish it on the spot, it's just never going to get published. And I just wasted my time doing that research. How do I know? This is the final question that I'm doing. How do I know when to stop research? So this is one of the most I think this is probably the most challenging thing in research, is knowing when to stop. And it's just got to be when you haven't made progress for a certain length of time. But it's like below that, it's an art, like it's an art form. You just need experience. You just keep going. I think the one thing I would say is, if you're feeling burned out, definitely at least have a break, because that's like the worst outcome is you affect your own mental health. That can definitely happen. It's not a good outcome. Cool. That's all the questions. I hope that all made sense. Thanks very much for coming. If you just keep posting questions in Discord, I'll have a skim through and answer some more just via text tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Hopefully see you at Black Hat, DEF CON or ROM Hack. See ya.